Good morning, my little coffee beans, and welcome to Madeline's Life Management. Today we're going to be talking about body language, more specifically how to appear confident. So my very first tip will be to walk calmly. Now, walking calmly exudes that you're carefree, you know where you're going, but you really don't have to be in a rush. It's stating that you control your own time. Now, if you don't want to be questioned, walking with purpose and walking not in a hurry but with purpose and quickly will allow you to evade people's questions. So sometimes there have been times in my life where I've needed to do something and I don't want people like bothering me or asking questions, or like I wasn't really supposed to be there but I was going to be there for I'm trying to think of an example. One of the examples was when we went to camp, my little sister was in a cabin that in which she had some not very nice girls, and you were not allowed to just walk around the camp. That was so against the rules. But I was I wanted to make sure that she was okay, and I wanted to check on her. And so I just walked out the door and walked with confidence and said hi every now and then. And I kept doing it and people didn't question me. I guess people thought I had special permission or something. So, and I was little, but I still remember it because you get that little whoo, it's not actually wrong to go see your sister and make sure she's okay, but it is against the rules. Do you know what I mean? My mom always said, rules are for people that don't know how to break them properly. I think I live by that sometimes too. Mom says it's a marker of a strong-willed child. That's how they think. I'm very strong-willed. So another little trick to make people like you is to simply smile. So a smile releases dopamine and it actually affects how you feel. So when people say when you're feeling down, smile, it actually does produce those chemicals in your brain that allow you to feel happier. So that's a wonderful trick, and it does make people around you like you more. So this is something that I use quite often with people that I really am intentionally trying to connect with, and this is mirroring. I use this often when I'm meeting a friend of my family's, or I know when I was meeting Savannah's boyfriend, I did this. But it's very subtle, and they don't realize you're doing it. No one's gonna be wait, are you mirroring me? So anyway, when the person that you're talking to, if they have their hands like this, I don't know why they would, it's sitting on the table or something, you simply do that. If they cross their leg, you also cross your leg. If they are talking and they are do this as well. This also works if you want to appear empathetic. Now you are empathetic, but if you're listening to someone and you want them to know that you, not understand, but that you're empathizing with them, if they are I'm just so frustrated, you can be I hate that for you, and just it doesn't have to be something big, they're gonna raise their arms and you're gonna be it's not a Simon Says. And you do it unintentionally quite often when you actually do agree with someone or when you actually are empathizing, which is why it works so well. It's because, it's something that we're used to picking up. Now, this next one is kind of a fun one that we all knew. Appear more intelligent by looking people in the eyes. So obviously, if someone's talking like this, it's showing that they're not very confident, or it makes us think that they're maybe shifty and they're possibly lying. Although looking someone in the eyes, especially direct contact, can sometimes indicate that someone is lying. But a lot of the time, they're just confident or comfortable with you. And it does make you appear more intelligent because you seem confident in what you're saying. Now, this next tip is something that I love because I'm very bad with names. So I'll repeat names quite often when I first meet you until I know it, and then I'll just use it by habit. But using people's names actually makes them like you more. This is because our name is our favorite sound. So I know how couples have pet names, but honestly, my favorite name that Blake calls me is Madeline because that's my name. Okay, so this next trick is so delightful. And dogs do this too. So when you greet a dog, if you act very excited to see the dog, the next time you see that dog will act equally excited to see you. Humans do this as well. So when you see someone from across the room, if you act very excited to see them, if you saw them maybe a week ago and you run up and you hug them and you're so excited, even if they're kind of at first, the next time they see you, they will try to match the last time you met. Now, this also means that if you greet someone and you're rather cold or standoffish, they'll also meet that. This isn't a conscious process, but it's a safety process, and it's respecting people's comfort zones, and it's also telling you how excited you should be to see that person. So be aware of this the next time. If you see someone and you would like a big greeting, go ahead and give them a big one. Or if you are someone that's not very comfortable with physical touch, be a bit more standoffish, and the next time you see that person around, they'll probably respect your space. Unless they're also watching this video, and then they'll be like, I want a hug! I'm gonna hug them next time! I'm gonna give them 5 hugs! Then they'll give me 4.5! I don't know how you give a half hug, maybe like a side hug. Okay, so now let's talk about how it relates to others. If you ask someone a question and they only give you a partial answer, maintain eye contact and stay silent. They will assume the original answer wasn't good enough and keep talking. This I actually use quite often. So this is something that I really look for when I'm trying to gauge relationships or a group of people that I'm not used to. When people laugh, they look towards the person they most respect, or they look towards the person that they most care about the opinion of. Okay, so this kind of ties in with the whole relationship. If you look at someone you love, it can reduce your pain. But if you are touching that person, it reduces that pain 3 times as much. And when I split my head open, you know, I have that video of Blake taking the staples out, but when I hit my head, you know, I was at work, and I remember just seeing Blake walk down the hall. My pain and fear was greatly reduced. My anxiety was reduced because I'm like, okay, everything's gonna be all right, Blake's here. And when I had to get the staples put in, the worst part was actually when they were cleaning it, just because the feeling is so different. But when I had to get the staples put in, I was like squeezing onto his arm for dear life, and I really honestly believe it reduced the pain because it wasn't that bad. The worst part was when he wasn't touching me when the wound was getting cleaned. And there's actually is proven by science. There was an experiment where they'd shock you and they'd have you like laying there, and they just shock you and they like rate your pain, like that was how your brain was perceiving the pain. And then they had you looking at a loved one, they had you looking at a stranger, they had you holding a stranger's hand and holding a loved one's hand. And the greatest reducer of pain was holding a loved one's hand. Also along those lines, a 20-second hug releases oxytocin in the body. My mom would always say this when we were growing up, and sometimes if we were kind of grumpy or a little clumsy, like, you just need a 20-second hug. And she'd just hug us for 20 seconds, and it really does work. And sometimes I know when Blake is really stressed with med school stuff, sometimes I'll just hug him, and then I'll pull away and I'm like, no, oxytocin. And he knows what I mean. I mean, we're gonna hug for at least 20 seconds so you get some oxytocin and I need it too. Now this is advice from my Nana, and it's very wise advice. She's always said that if you're talking and everyone starts looking down, away, fidgeting, stop talking. They're no longer interested. So I'm gonna leave you with, if you also are curious if someone's interested, just cross your arms. If they cross their arms as well, they're interested. You know, the whole mirroring that we talked about earlier. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you in my next video.